Adebimpe's hand trembled as she heard her sister's lifeless body. Jumoke, Jumoke, please wake up, she screamed, shaking her. But there was no answer. Jumoke's eyes stared blankly at the ceiling. Her hands slightly parted as if she had tried to say something before her last breath. Her body was unnaturally cold, colder than the night air that slipped through the open window. Adebimpe grasped for air. Her heart pounded violently, her mind refusing to accept it. Her baby sister, the only family member she had left, was gone. Tears streaming down her face as she clocked Jumoke's lifeless body. No, no, please God, no. But a shadow moved. Adebimpe's head snapped up. She heard a voice in the room. Pastor Motrayo stood by the window, her white robe flowing like a mist in the dim light. Her golden jewelry glistened, but her face was mysterious. A knowing smile curved her lips, her eyes glistening with something inhuman. She let out a slow, chilling whisper. I will be waiting for you. Motrayo vanished. A cold swept through the room, and Adebimpe felt it through her bones. A shiver ran through her body. The air felt wrong. It felt heavy. Evil had walked into her home and taken her sister. The sound of the police van echoed through the quiet night as Adebimpe stood outside. Her arms wrapped tightly around herself. The coldness she felt was not from the night breeze, but from the deep void inside her heart. Jumoke's body was carefully lifted onto a stretcher. Her once lively, beautiful face was now pale and lifeless. Adebimpe swallowed hard as the officers approached her. What exactly happened here? One of them asked, his voice firm but not unkind. I don't know, she stammered, blinking back tears. She just died. I don't know what killed her. The police officer frowned. Was she sick? Adebimpe shook her head. No. Did she take any drug? No, Adebimpe shouted. She felt their eyes scanning her, searching for a sign of a lie, but she had none to tell. The truth was, she had no idea what had happened. The only thing she knew was that it had to be connected to the church. Jumoke has been talking about that place before she died. Adebimpe clenched her fist. She's a police officer, and she will find out the truth no matter what. Whoever killed her sister must pay for it. The next morning, she went to the church. It was a grand building, standing tall in the middle of the busy streets. The golden cross at the top, glistening under the sun. People were walking in and out, laughing, singing, and greeting one another like nothing was wrong. Like this place wasn't hiding something dark. Adebimpe took a deep breath and stepped inside. The large hall smelled of fresh flowers and expensive perfumes. Women in long dresses and men in neatly ironed suits filled the seats. On the altar, a choir sang in angelic voices, their hands lifted in worship. Everything looked normal, too normal. Adebimpe's heart pounded as she scanned the room, searching for any sign of something unusual, but there was nothing. Just people praying, dancing and worshipping. She clenched her jaw. She had expected to see something strange, something that would prove her fears right, but there was nothing. Was she imagining it? Had she let her grief cloud her mind? She stayed for hours, watching, waiting, but nothing happened. Defeated, she walked out of the church, feeling more confused than ever. Maybe she was wrong, maybe. But that night, she had a dream. Adebimpe stood in the middle of a vast dark forest, the trees stretching high into the sky, their branches twisting like the arms of unseen creatures. The air was thick, heavy, and smelled of wood. A strange silence surrounded her, no birds chirping, no winds rustling through the leaves. Then she heard it, a soft whisper. Adebimpe. Her heart skipped. The voice was familiar, too familiar. She turned around, and there, standing a few feet away, was Jumoke. Her sister's face was pale, her eyes filled with sorrow. She wore the same clothes she had died in, but now they were stained with death. Her lips trembled as she spoke. Adebimpe, you must be careful. Adebimpe's throat tightened. Jumoke, what happened to you? Tears welled up in Jumoke's eyes. Mutrayo, she stopped talking. Adebimpe took a step forward, but Jumoke raised a trembling hand. No, don't come closer. My time is short. Adebimpe swallowed hard. Tell me the truth, Jumoke. Who is Moturayo? Jumoke's lips shook. She glanced around, as if afraid something was watching them. She's evil, she whispered. Adebimpe felt her leg weakened. You must leave Lagos, Jumoke pleaded. Go back home to Ekiti. Find Mama Abike. She's the only one who can help you. Tears streamed down Adebimpe's face. Jumoke, please. But Jumoke's image flicked like a dying candle. The forest around them began to dissolve into darkness. Jumoke's voice became faint. Go before it's too late. Then everything went black. Adebimpe woke up with a scream. Her body was covered in sweat. Her heart pounded so hard it felt like it would burst. She sat up, trying to catch her breath. It was just a dream, but it felt so real. She touched her face and realized she was crying. Jumoke had warned her. She is not severe. Moturayo is too dangerous, and if she stayed, she would be next. She had to leave Lagos. Adebimpe wasted no time. By the next morning, she packed a small bag and boarded a bus heading to Ekiti. The road stretched long ahead her, winding through villages, farmlands, and thick forests. The journey felt heavier than the weight of her luggage. Fear and unanswered questions. She barely spoke to anyone in the bus. Her mind was restless, filled with the image of Jumoke in the dream, warning her to leave Lagos. Would Mama Abike truly help her? Would she even believe her? The closer she got to Ekiti, the more uneasy she felt. The forest around the road seemed darker, thicker, as if they knew she was coming. By the time she arrived in her hometown, the sun was beginning to set. Ekiti has not changed much. The cold breeze, fresh air everywhere. She missed it, but she was not in the mood to enjoy it. She went straight to her family's old compound. It has been years since she last visited, but the memories were still fresh. Her grandmother's house stood at the far end of the compound. A small house with charms and symbols crafted into the wooden doors. The place looked old but strong, as if time itself had no power over it. She knocked, but there was silence. She knocked again, harder this time. She heard footsteps and the door cracked open. And there stood Mama Abike. Mama Abike was not an ordinary woman. Her eyes were sharp, deep, and knowing. Her skin was wrinkled, but her presence was powerful. She wore a simple white wrapper, and on her neck hung a small black stone tied with red cloth. She stared at Adebimpe for a long time before speaking. "I know you will come." Adebimpe felt a chill run down her spine. "You knew?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Mama Abuke nodded. "Your sister came to me." Adebimpe's eyes skipped. "Jumoke?" "Yes." Tears filled up in Adebimpe's eyes. "Mama, she's dead." Mama Abuke sighed deeply, her face hardened. "I know." Adebimpe swallowed the lumps in her throat. "I need your help." The old woman studied her for a moment, then slowly stepped aside. "Come in, my child," she said. Adebimpe took a deep breath and walked inside. Inside the house, the air was thick with the scent of burning herbs. Mama Abuke asked Adebimpe to sit. "What do you know about Moturayo?" the old woman asked. Adebimpe hesitated, then spoke. "She's not a woman." Mama Abuke nodded. "You are right. She's a snake from the spirit world." Adebimpe's hand trembled as she whispered, "She's a snake? A snake spirit?" Mama Abuke's eyes darkened. "She's more than that." Adebimpe's breath inched. "What do you mean?" The old woman sighed and leaned closer. "Mutua is a ajogun, a spirit that disguised itself as woman to deceive and destroy. She was never born of flesh. She came from the deep waters, the world where creatures of darkness lived." Adebimpe felt her body go cold. "She has taken many souls," Mama Abuke continued. "She fed on the trust of the innocent, and your sister was one of her victims." Tears spilled down Adebimpe's face. "She killed Jumoke," she whispered. "Yes." Adebimpe clenched her feet. "Then I will stop her." Mama Abuke raised a brow. "You, a young girl with no spiritual training." Adebimpe swallowed hard. "I don't care. I will not let her get away with this." Mama Abuke studied her for a long time. Then she shook her head. "No." Adebimpe clenched her feet again. "Why not?" "You don't understand the danger," Mama Abuke said firmly. "Montreal is not a mere spirit. She's ancient. She has power beyond your imagination. Fighting her is like standing against a storm." Adebimpe's hands trembled. "So you won't help me?" Mama Abuke sighed. "I cannot risk my life for a fight that is already lost." Adebimpe's heart shattered. She had come all this way, and now she was being torn away. She fell to her knee. "Mama, please," her voice broken. "She killed my sister. If I don't stop her, she will kill more. Please help me." Mama Abuke looked away, her face troubled. Adebimpe grabbed the old woman's hand, her tears falling freely. "Please, Mama, I beg of you." The room was silent. Then, after what felt like an eternity, Mama Abuke closed her eyes and inhaled deeply. When she opened them, something has changed. "Fine," she murmured. Adebimpe's heart slipped. "I will help you," Mama Abuke says, "but you must be ready for the consequences." Adebimpe nodded quickly. "I am ready." Mama Abuke slowly rose to her feet. "Then listen carefully, child. I will give you a stone, a special stone that holds the power to break the spirit holds in this world. Take it to our church, smash it on the ground." Adebimpe's breath quickened. "That's all?" Mama Abuke's face turned serious. "That is just the beginning." Adebimpe swallowed hard. "This will force her to reveal her true form," the woman continued. "But be warned, once she is exposed, she will be more dangerous than ever." Adebimpe felt a shiver run through her spine. "Do not hesitate," Mama Abuke warned, "and do not be afraid." Adebimpe clenched her feet. She had come too far to turn back now. She would do this for Jumoke, for the innocent people who still believe in Motrayo's lies. She will end this nightmare, but the nightmare was only just the beginning. Adebimpe barely slept that night. She lay awake on the small bed in Mama Abike's room, clutching the stone with the old man had given her. It was small, smooth, and cold as ice. Mama Abike wrapped it in a red cloth and whispered incantations over it, sealing its power. Smash it on the floor inside the church, the old woman had told her. Then use the staff to send them back. Adebimpe ran her fingers over the circle object Mama Abike had given her, a short wooden staff carved with strange symbols. It looked simple, but she could feel the energy inside it. Would this really work? She had no idea but to try. The next morning, Adebimpe prepared to leave. Mama Abike stood at the doorway, watching her. You are walking into the mouth of a snake, the old woman says. Her voice grave. Be careful, my child. Adebimpe nodded. Thank you, Mama. The old woman hesitated, then placed a wrinkled hand on Adebimpe's head. May the spirits of our forefathers guide and protect you. Adebimpe swallowed hard, nodded, and turned away. She did not look back. The journey back to Lagos felt heavier. She boarded a bus heading straight to Lagos, squeezing into the back seat. The bus was full. Women, men, traders carrying baskets of tomatoes and onions. A mother with a crying baby. The air was thick with the smell of sweat and dry fish. Adebimpe held the stone tightly in her lap, her heart pounding. She had to be strong, but deep down, something felt wrong. She couldn't explain it, but an unsettling feeling settled heavily in her heart, like a warning she couldn't understand. Then suddenly, boom! A loud explosion was heard and the bus jacked violently. People screamed. The tires stretched as the driver lost control. The bus flipped once, twice, then crashed into the bush. Silence filled the air for a moment. Adebimpe couldn't breathe. She was upside down, trapped between broken seats and scattered glasses. Around her, people groaned in pains. Some were silent, too silent. Blood and dust were everywhere. The distant sound of people shouting, heart pounding. Then a shadow moved outside the bus. Motunrayo, she stood there, untouched, her white dress glowing under the morning sun. Her expression was unreadable, but her eyes, those cold serpent eyes, staring straight at Adebimpe. She smiled. I warned you, Adebimpe. Her voice was soft, almost gentle. Turn back now, before it is too late. Adebimpe's body shivered, but she clenched her feet. No, Motrayo sighed. Then you will die, just like your sister did. And just like that, she vanished. The weight of her presence lifted, and suddenly, Adebimpe could breathe again. She groaned, pushing against the broken seat until she crawled out of the bus. She was bleeding but alive. Motrayo had tried to stop her. That only meant one thing. She was afraid, and Adebimpe was not going to stop now. By the time Adebimpe reached Lagos, it was late in the evening. Her clothes was torn, her body ached, but she did not go home. She went straight to the church. The church was still having evening programs. She could hear the choir singing, their voice raising in worship, the congregation clapping and dancing, oblivious to the evil standing before them. Adebimpe's heart raced. This was it. She entered the church and walked straight to the altar. People turned to look at her. Pastor Motrayo stood on the altar, holding a microphone, her smile wide and warm. Adebimpe, she said sweetly, you have come to worship with us. Adebimpe did not answer. She walked to the center of the church, took a deep breath, and smashed the stone on the ground. The moment it hit the floor, a loud crack filled the air, like thunder splitting the heaven. The ground trembled. The lights flicked. A strong wind swept through the church, knocking over chairs. The congregation gasped in fear. Then Motayo screamed. Her voice was not human anymore. It was a hiss. A long, sharp, hissing, piercing hiss. Her body confused. Her arm twisted. Her leg melted together. Her skin turned pale and scaly. The congregation watched in horror as their beloved Mommy Gio transformed into a massive white snake, his eyes glowing with anger. People screamed, running in all directions, pushing and shoving, desperate to escape. But Adebimpe stood firmly. She raised the wooden staff Mama Abike had given her, and pointed it at the creature. "You dare to challenge me?" Motayo hissed. Adebimpe's hands trembled, but she did not back down. "This is the end for you." She slammed the staff on the ground. The air cracked with power. A golden light burst through the staff, wrapping around the snake, tightening, pulling. Motayo thrashed violently, her massive body knocking over the chairs, crushed instruments, scattered the windows. "No!" she screamed. "I will not go back." But it was too late. The lights dragged her down into the floor, down into the unseen world, back to where she came from. She let out one final head-splitting screech, and then she was gone. Silent. The church was in ruins. People stared in shock, unable to believe what they had seen. Adebimpe fell to her knees, breathing hard. It was over. The news spread through Lagos, and Lagos was never the same after that night. Spread like wildfire. Pastor Motayo was a monster, a demon, a snake, and a deceiver. People argued. Some refused to believe it, but it was a fact. But Adebimpe didn't care about all that. She sat in her small apartment, staring at Jumoke's picture, tears running down her cheek. "I did it, Jumoke," she whispered. "I avenged you." But deep in her heart, she knew this was not a victory. She had lost a sister, and no amount of revenge could bring her back. She wiped her tears and looked out the window. The city was awake as always. Life continued. But in the darkness, evil still moved. And Adebimpe knew the fight was never truly over. Moral lessons from the story. Not everyone who claims to be holy is truly of God. Evil can disguise itself in the most trusted places. Sometimes, standing for the truth comes with pain, but it is always worth it. Justice is not always sweet, but it is necessary. And always be careful of the church you attend and where you worship the Lord. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for more stories like this. Thank you.